Hello, hello, hello. It's Friday night and Friday evening, and like I normally do on Fridays, I am live with Friday Hangout. And today it's going to be on sexual violence. This is a topic a lot of people shy away from, but I'm not one of those people who shy away from this because I have personally experienced this myself. And so I am going to be talking on sexual violence today. I'm just gonna give me a few seconds to share this on my page, on my profile, as well as in my group on Facebook so that we can get started. So give me 1 second. Like I said, today it's on sexual violence. And unfortunately, I cannot play music today because Facebook is clamping down on music that's copyrighted, so I cannot really share copyrighted music today. Otherwise, I'll be shut down. So I have gone ahead and I have shared that. Like I said today, for those of you who don't know me, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Kemi Shogunle. I am a multi-award winning author, an international speaker, and a certified professional coach, supporting singles and married couples with finding who they are, experiencing love prior to going into a relationship or while in a relationship, resolving conflicts in terms of marriage, intimacy issues, financial issues, as well as helping you build on a solid foundation prior to going into a relationship that will make your lives become better, not bitter. Today I'm speaking on domestic violence, sexual violence, because a lot of people do not really understand what it means to have gone through this experience or have survived the experience, and you're busy trying to live your life and get yourself together again. In this world that we live in, statistics shows, according to the organization, the Victims of Sexual Violence organization, 1 in 4 girls go through sexual violence and 1 in 6 boys go through sexual violence. And so it's not only women that get affected, men also get affected by these things, but we don't really talk about it because the society, the culture, the tradition has made us to believe that people who have gone through several things have a taboo on them. And so there's a stigma being placed on people that have experienced sexual violence. I speak on sexual violence because I have personally gone through it. I was raped at the age of 17 and I have gone through my healing process. I did not really deal with the issue when I was raped at the age of 17. I did not even talk to my family about it. And it was something I kept to myself until I grew up. And it happened to have affected the relationships that I was in. And I can likely say it affected my marriage of 15 years prior to me getting divorced, because these were some symptoms and signs that I did not really look out for when I was getting into that. And that left me broken and torn. And I had to find myself after that. I started to write and I started to coach and I started to speak internationally on relationships. So today I'm talking about sexual relationships, the sexual violence, the death of what sexual violence can leave you with without healing, and how you can actually overcome the pain that you may carry from a very long time without dealing with these issues, how you can start to deal with these issues, and how you can start to heal. Like I said, 1 in 4 girls experience this, mostly between the ages of 8 and 15, and 1 in 6 boys experience this, but they never talk about it. For the men, I'm going to start with the men because most people don't really realize how much it affects men. When men are sexually violated, you find out that they don't know how to handle the situation. Because men are egoistical, it becomes very hard for them to deal with it, or for them to know what to do about the situation. And so sometimes these men who have experienced this or have witnessed this end up becoming players and hurting women because they don't know how to heal from these situations. And so they find themselves in situations where they don't really want to be, but because they're living unconsciously and subconsciously, they find out that they're violating other women in a way of thinking they're protecting themselves, but they're actually hurting more people. For us women, it's more of trying to find an avenue to build on the trust and regain your self-confidence, because you've been violated and you're left devastated. Even though you may be resilient, you may stand strong physically, but mentally there is a piece of you that has been stolen from you without you knowing, and you may hide behind several things but not really speak about it. It may also lead to you having post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. It may lead to you having anxiety attacks. It may lead to you having panic attacks. It may lead to you finding solutions in addictions. And it may also lead to you feeling suicidal and depressed. These are some of the things that people who experience sexual violence go through. And how do you get over it? I'm going to share with you. I spoke with 10 women this week. Let me get started by that. I spoke with 10 different women this week during my research, just to find out what it feels like to have experienced it, being somebody who has gone through it myself. And we all share the same experience. There's no experience different. There's no different experience. We're only different people, but rape is rape no matter what you call it. Sexual violence is sexual violence no matter what type of label you want to put on it. And what we found out, the 10 of us found out this week, was that we all crawled into our shells. We all went on into relationships that later broke us because, again, we thought that these people that we met were the people we could trust and the people that we could lean on for support and find love in after being raped. You want to be in your shell, but when somebody starts to build that trust back, you want to hang on to that person thinking that this is the right person. But most of the time, it's based on what we hear that lead us into the arms of the wrong partner and that later breaks us. And so you find out that most people that have experienced this may find it difficult getting into a relationship, or may get into a relationship that will further break them. And why is that? Because every pain you carry on the inside connects you with somebody else that is experiencing pain, but without you knowing that you're connecting to somebody else who's experiencing pain, because you haven't healed, you're going to take on their pain, and it's going to weigh you down more. And the key to getting out of this experience of being sexually violated, or having experienced rape or sexual violence, is to soul search within yourself. Never blame yourself for anything you go through, because life teaches us lessons that we gain as experiences and we later use to help other people that we come across, not for our shame, but for God's glory, because we're equipped more, we become more knowledgeable to also help people that are going through it out there. I started to write about it after I got divorced. I never really talked about it, but I experienced things that led me to, connect to the pain again, to reenact everything and to relieve everything over again as an adult. And that's one of the most painful things you can go through, that nobody wants to talk about, nobody wants to touch on, and you even feel ashamed to connect to anyone to talk about. And so the first thing to do is to, sit within yourself and get the help. Sit within yourself, look for somebody neutral, because most of the time, if you go to family members, if you go to friends who don't understand what you've gone through and the trauma that you're experiencing, they can start to judge you. They can start to judge you. They can start to blame you. They can start to go into places you don't want to be at that time, because all you want to do at that time is to really get the pain out of you. But no one can understand your pain except you, and you don't really have to explain it to anyone. You can just sit within yourself and think thoroughly through what happened as you get professional help. It is very vital to get professional help and just sit down alone. If I had known that I could get professional help without sitting with myself for years, I would have done that rather than wait until I was 41 before I actually started to get the help that I need. And so I have documented in my book, Being Single, and I'm going to read some of the things that I had to go through to get out from that space of being hurt, to get out of that space from being broken, and to fight and stay stronger, to be resilient and to become better, not bitter, not to be resentful. I had to actually go back to the person who raped me and let them know that I forgave them. That's one of the things I talk about when I talk about soul searching and forgiveness in my book, Being Single. I encourage you to go back to the person who broke you and let them know that you forgive them, because forgiveness is not for them. It's for you to get that peace. It's for you to release that pain. It's for you to let go of all the anger you carry within you. And it's for you to liberate yourself. It's very vital to liberate yourself from that pain. It's very vital to liberate yourself from that person, because again, your soul is a bit tied to them. And until you release their soul from you, from the pain that you're carrying through forgiveness, it becomes hard for you to let go of that pain. You have to go and release your soul from them by forgiving them and letting them know, this is what happened, and I forgive you and I release you, and you get the freedom that you need and the peace that you need that nobody else can give to you. So I talk about soul searching. Soul searching, after you have connected with forgiveness, the first thing is to forgive yourself. Because during soul searching, you're going to face 4 stages. 4 stages of soul searching that will make you really want to give up. In my book, I talk about the awareness stage. The awareness stage of soul searching brings to light whatever has been dark, whatever you have run away from, the issues that you have buried for a long time, the pain that you have carried that have led to unhealthy habits and repeated patterns and limited beliefs. Those things you have to heal from, but you have to get to that awareness stage to be able to connect to those things when you sit down within yourself and you're getting professional help, and these things are being brought to the conscious from the subconscious and unconscious state, and you start to really connect to become aware of the things that you have buried. The second stage is the angry stage, because when you gain the awareness, you start to become angry of everything that you did not deal with. Every pain that you held, you kept underneath the rug, every hurt that you did not touch upon, you start to really connect to that, and that drives you to become angry. And that's very much okay to get upset, because you realize that some of the things that happened were contributed by you, but you weren't able to really connect the dots at that time when it happened. But as you gain awareness, as you get to the angry stage, you wake up to start to get upset about how you allowed the words, how you allowed them to play on your emotions, how you allowed them to violate you, with you trying to get into their space without you really knowing that that was what you were doing, because you were living in the unconscious and the subconscious. Thanks, Yemisi, for joining from Georgia, and thanks, Jude, from joining from Nigeria. The third stage of soul searching is when you start to cry out. After all the anger has resurfaced, you start to really cry out. You cry because you realize how much pain you've kept in yourself, how much hurt you've kept in yourself. And the moment you start to cry out is when you start to begin your healing process, because you're releasing the pain that you have kept for so long on the inside, and you really want to become better. And as you begin to release the pain through crying, you're releasing, like I said, you're releasing all the hurt that you have buried, all the resentment, all the bitterness, all the anger. And so you're beginning to liberate yourself. And as you come to the separation and anxiety stage, that is the most difficult stage of the soul searching process, because you're still struggling to hold on to a piece of the story, and you're still trying to hold on to a piece of that person, and you're still trying to hold on to a piece of your pain. But you have to learn to let go. You have to learn to let go of the pain. You have to let go of the hurt. You have to learn to let go of the person your soul was tied to, who may have sexually violated you. But you have to release, because when you don't release, you cannot heal. You cannot really move from where you are to where you need to be. And so as you begin to separate yourself, you might start to have panic attacks at night. You might start to have night sweats. You might have to start to have sleepless nights, because again, all the memory that you have buried begin to resurface, and you begin to relieve the pain again. But that is the moment when you start to liberate yourself from everything that you have kept on the inside, from every pain, every hurt, every unforgiveness, every resentment, every form of malice, strife, bitterness that has grown a seed in your heart. But you have to go down to the root of the matter, because without uprooting from the roots, you will still carry some of that with you for a very long time. And as you release, as you begin to separate yourself, as you begin to liberate yourself, as you begin to connect back to your spirituality and connect back to God and allow God to truly heal you from that pain, you become free. Free of the hurt, free of the pain, free from the memories of the sexual violation. Like I said, it happens to men and women, but men actually don't know how to heal. The first thing for a man is to realize that you have to come to that humble space after you've been sexually violated. You have to come to that place of solitude to begin to connect with everything that has happened, so that you can connect with the lessons that lie in it. The fact that somebody took part of you away doesn't mean you have to give them the power to break you, or give them the power to prevent you from living the life that God has truly designed for you. You cannot allow people to take your power away because they never gave it to you, even though they may have sexually violated you, but you can still live and become free from all that bond. Like I said, I went through it at the age of 17. I never really spoke about it until I was 41. And I had to realize when I started to heal that I had held on to so much of that pain, that the pain actually led me to make irrational decisions, made me to connect to the wrong people, made me to believe that the person who I was connecting to was also free of pain. And it's very easy when you've been sexually violated to connect to people who carried pain, a different kind of pain from your pain, but pain is always the same. The root of pain is always the same. But when you connect to people that are living in pain, your pain escalates, but you're not able to release yourself from that place. Hi, Kilma. Thanks for joining from the Caribbeans. I'm really grateful that you joined. Thanks so much for joining, and thanks for the heart. Like I was saying, so for men, it is very vital for a man who has been sexually violated to get help without holding on to the pain. Don't always think about what people will think about or what people will say. Think about yourself, because you're doing this for yourself. You're not doing it for anyone else. Your purpose is all about you. Your pain is about you. You're becoming free from your pain so that you can connect to your purpose, which is likely to help other people that have experienced this thing and are actually going through thanks Gilma, and are actually going through the experience themselves, people that have been violated. I did not know how many people that had gone through what I was going through when I started to really share my story, and I started to connect to people that had experienced rape as a teenager or as a young adult. And you find out that most of us end up in relationships that later break us. Later break us because the pain that we carry on the inside, the pain that we don't heal from, lead us into the arms of people who are already broken but cannot help us heal. You find out that it's hard for you to trust anyone after you've been violated. And so you start to make that decision to connect to somebody who connects to your pain and helps you see your pain from a different perspective, but not necessarily help you to heal. You start to build the trust in the words you're hearing because you understand that the person who has violated you hurt you, but somebody who's actually trying to connect and play with your emotions is easy to talk you into what you want to hear, but not necessarily what you need to hear to heal from. And so when you find yourself after being violated, connecting to somebody else for a relationship, you're either connecting to somebody who's going to mess you up again because you haven't taken the time to heal, but you're taking the time to build trust in somebody who's using empty words to connect with you and tell you they love you, but may not necessarily love you, because love is a word that's easily thrown around, but people don't really know what love is until you find yourself. And the only way you can find yourself is to, first of all, get help for yourself, find yourself, build your self-confidence back, build trust in yourself first, become mentally aware and consciously aware of who you are, heal and forgive yourself for everything you've gone through, heal and forgive the person who violated you because they didn't know better at that time, heal and connect with your spirituality, because everything that leads us to pain draws us back closer to God. And the more you connect back with God, the quicker your healing becomes. For me, it was connecting to my spirituality and finding myself. And like I've said on my last video on emotional abuse, finding yourself is a very painful process. And without you really finding yourself, it becomes a stage where you're giving in to everybody else and thinking that what everybody else carries with them will help you heal. But nobody can help you heal but you. Nobody can help you forgive yourself but you. Nobody can help you become free of the mental state of being you are after you've experienced sexual violence as a man or a woman. But you have to get to that point where you decide, I want to heal and I want to be free. It was a very painful 6 to 8 months period for me to find myself after I was broken from my marriage of 15 years. I had been sexually molested and raped at the age of 17, but I did not deal with my issues until I was 41 years old. And when I was 41, I discovered that I had buried a lot of things. I had connected to friends who were also hurting. And because I could not make the decisions based on the pain that I carried, I went to bed with sleepless nights. I could not connect to my parents about the stuff I was going through. I could not connect to my siblings about the stuff I was going through. I could not tell my friends what I was going through because I had that fear of being shamed and being, blamed for everything that happened to me. And so I had to be in that place of solitude with God and being coached for a period of 6 to 8 months so that I can actually start to heal and I can become free. And in the process of me becoming free, I started to journal everything I learned from that experience, and I started to write books and put my books out there to help other people. And I started to coach and I started to really mentor people that were going through. In the process of me mentoring, I discovered that the woman who rescued me herself had experienced that pain, had experienced that sexual abuse, but never really talked about it until we started to connect and speak about what I had gone through. And I started to share my story with the public and let them know that no matter what you've gone through, you can still rise up and become better, not bitter. Because when you allow people to hold your power down and put you in a place of pain, you can never really get out of there. You can never really You can't hear anymore. Okay, let me stop and then I'll get back on again. Let me break this off and I'll do another. I'll follow up on another session now. I'll follow up. Give me 1 second.